Is it? Hold on, let me get it right.
Tamara.
Tamara, not Tamara.
Tamara. Yes.
Tamara. I'm gonna try not
Camera.
to.
Tamara.
Uh, Mackroy.
Correct.
Okay, man, she's stretching me today. I'm gonna have to remember this because I'll get Tamara Mackroy.
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
it is pronounced exactly how it looks. So it's really not that bad. I think it's the other people that
Mess it up for
that
everyone.
mess it up for everybody else. I'm pretty sure that's what is happening.
I get all different types of variations, and depending on the accent, it gets worse and
Yes.
worse and
Plus, we
worse.
have the phenomenal Cynthia Black. So that goes without saying. But we're gonna go right in because we're behind. But we're gonna be talking about alopecia today. Did I say that right?
You said
Oh,
that
okay. All right.
right.
All right. And of course, I want to talk about the Jada Pinkett Will Smith incident and the whole smack down.
Had
Got to bring
heard
that in
around
there.
the world.
That's heard around the world. Okay. You ready, guys? Make sure you speak directly in the microphone. You can pull it to you.
Okay.
All right, Mark.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up and good morning. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is today. Every day is a great day. Every day is a day that I'm thankful and grateful to be alive and well, to kind of probably fix those things I'm sure I messed up on yesterday. But I have in the studio phenomenal guests. And of course, everyone knows the outstanding, phenomenal, she's staying on her own, the great, fantastic Cynthia Black. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning, listeners, and I am so excited about being here today for something that happened this weekend that has changed my life.
Well, it absolutely did because you called me. You like, hey, Jay, we need to do a show. We need to do a show. And I'm like, Cynthia, what are you doing now? Because Cynthia, she's the 411 of town to letting us know what's going on, what's happening. She said, do you know what alopecia is? And I said, absolutely. Did you know that it's Alopecia Awareness Month? I said, I did not know that. She said, well, I got to tell you, and I got a group, which brings me to Tamara Mackroy.
Salutations, everyone. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so very much for coming on the show. I appreciate you come talking about this topic. I don't think a lot of people know a lot about alopecia until, of course, the smack that was heard around the world.
Absolutely.
When Will Smith went up to Chris Rock and went, pow, because he was making these bald jokes about his wife. And then it
Yes.
came out that Jada Pinkett had alopecia. What?
Absolutely.
That's huge, right? What did that do for the awareness and for your organization, you think?
Um, I could tell you this much as I've been suffering and living, we'll say, not even suffering, right? Being a thriver of alopecia for over a decade now. It was like, yes, another opportunity for further advancement of awareness of this. A lot of individuals, regrettably, when they see someone bald, specifically a woman, you think, oh my gosh, is she okay? She has cancer.
Yep,
You
breast
know,
cancer. That's the
Exactly.
big thing.
Get some
You
oil.
got a
Let's
bald
lay some hands
head.
on her. Let's pray
She's
for
got
her.
cancer. Poor thing. You're absolutely correct.
Absolutely. And I'm just as healthy as an ox walking around here bald headed, right? And it's because I have alopecia. And for me, my situation, my journey began because of being hereditary. So my mom had
I
it, my
didn't realize it
grandma
was
had it.
alopecia.
It's
So let's
hereditary.
talk about alopecia. Exactly what is it and why are you bald?
Absolutely. And so it's an immune disease, right? We don't like to use the word disease, but it is a disorder where your immune system attacks your hair follicles.
Mm.
And so for some, it starts off as little patches, and there's variations of alopecia. Some individuals are completely bald. Some individuals, once more, it starts off with little patches, and some is traction just from their constant pulling and retention on the hair different
Mm-hmm.
because of different hairstyles
Mm.
and so forth. And so there's constant research that's taking place. I'm actually a legislative liaison with the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, and we've been lobbying and fighting for different bills to be put into effect with Congress that'll kind of help with us alopecians having different coverages. A lot of individuals, especially when we're talking about children, they aren't at that point where they're comfortable with walking around with this bald head,
Mm-hmm.
and so one of the bills that we've been fighting, gosh, for a couple of years, is to actually get pros- uh, what are they called, cranial prosthetics placed as durable medical equipment.
Wow.
Oh,
And so we look at how those that are suffering from cancer, they're able to have their insurance companies pick
that's
up the
right. But
tabs.
alopecia, they're like, mm-mm. And when you think about children, I mean,
Hmm.
listen, children are cruel.
They
Let's
are
just
very
be real.
cruel.
And it's an unfortunate thing that they are cruel, and the bullying and the
Hmm.
teasing. I mean, you go to school with your hair out of place a little bit, they're going to tease you. You go with dirty clothes on, you're going to be teased. But then if you have an illness or a disease and you don't have any hair, then it's on.
Yeah. Yeah. And once more, like I said, because there's so many different variations of alopecia,
Like you said, patches of hair.
some don't even have eyebrows or eyelashes, you know what I
Oh,
mean? And
wow.
Wow.
so I have a few alopecians. We're called alopecians, right?
Alopecias.
I have a few alopecia friends, and they've had it since they've been 3, 5 years old. And so they talk about their plight through childhood and early adulthood and so forth with that battle.
It's a challenge. I mean, because when you think about it, a lot of people see their hair as their
As the
glory.
Their
glory.
Oh,
crown.
the crown. This is my hair, and what do I do? And go. Let's go back to the Jada Pinkett Smith thing, because I'm gonna tell you right now, people have been. They were horrible to Will Smith. Don't get me wrong. I do not think he should have smacked anybody, but I'm gonna say right now, say something about me if you want to, and my husband's around.
That
you
part.
you listen, you gonna get smacked. Cynthia, you know my husband.
Oh, do I know him?
He don't play.
He guards her, y'all. He's her bodyguard, security guard.
He all
I
of that.
love it.
So, but still, it brought such an awareness of the disease.
Absolutely.
And that goes to show you never know what someone is going through, what they're suffering with. And she has been in the spotlight. And for her to go bald that way, I don't know if she had patches or whatever, but for her to walk that way, walk the red carpet, come out
Hmm.
in public and not wear a wig or a headdress or anything, for her to own that showed a boldness that I see that you have today. Because you
Absolutely.
walked in, I was like, oh,
Okay.
she got a pretty bald head. That's cute. I was thinking about shaving my hair if I'm going global. I don't know if I can do it, but you
You
look
Well,
never,
if
pretty.
you
you'd have
never
came this
know.
weekend, she would have shaved it because I went home and tried to shave mine.
You went.
I was
You
so
you you
impressed.
never know,
Was
and I call
uplifted.
it working with what God gave you.
Hmm.
And this is a journey. We started the Central Florida Alopecia Support Group some years ago, and we have folks from different walks of life, men, women, children, Spanish,
Men
white,
have,
black. It
people
doesn't
never think
discriminate.
about
No.
men having alopecia. They just think men
Oh,
have bald heads.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought.
Alopecia doesn't discriminate. Anyone can get it. You know what I mean? And so, we have individuals that'll come in with their wigs, and they're comfortable enough while the support group meeting is taking place, and they'll take it off. And then sure enough, just as soon as it's over, they go in the bathroom and they put it back on and
Oh,
they walk
wow.
out. And it's once more, it's about us loving and supporting each other in the different
And no
ways
matter
in
where
which,
you are, and it's
and
okay if you
we're in
want to
our
wear a
walk.
wig, wear a wig. If you
And
don't want to
so
wear a
when
wig, don't wear a wig. It's on you.
But it's so
absolutely.
trendy, like braids. I've never seen braids like we've had in the last decade. So
Hmm.
when I saw Jada and I saw all these other women, I thought it was a trend.
Yeah. You know,
What was it?
It
it's
was a disease.
Oh, it was covering up.
See, I thought they just shaved their head like they're getting all the braids down to the waist now.
yeah.
I'm thinking it's just a fashion trend.
Well, you never know
I was
who's
thinking
who.
about getting me some braids in a wig form because I want to try 'em. I've never had braids, but you just never think about, like you said, like you think it's a trend because I was
Yeah.
thinking it was a
Yeah.
trend.
Right.
And just for the way that she responded to, the words that
Hmm.
Chris stated, and here's this woman that's been in the industry of a high stature,
Mm.
has a husband of a high caliber. She's beautiful, you know what I mean? Money galore, you know what I mean? Like her dress was banging.
Oh,
I
And
know.
yet,
one of my
just to
One of
see
my
favorite
favorite
her
colors.
her response, you know what I mean? And it just shows you, no matter who or what you are, you are human. You know what I mean? Emotions and feelings are real,
Hmm.
and we are all walking and carrying something. We think of so many different stars, and they committed suicide, and you're like, they got all the money in the world.
Well,
I
I know.
thought they were super super happy. No, we all are
We're all
suffering
struggling
and
with
going
something.
through something.
Well, we're going to talk about that and talk about some treatments and some support groups and things that you're doing in the area. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Tamara, right? Okay, because I'm
It's
like,
okay. See,
Tam.
Tamara,
We
everyone
say
calls me
Tam.
Tam.
Yeah, I call her Tam.
Everyone calls me Tam.
okay, you ready? Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. My highly esteemed guest is the phenomenal Cynthia Black, and she brought along Tamara Mackroy, and we're talking about alopecia. So, Cynthia, how you got involved in this? We're going to talk about some treatments with Tam in just a minute, but how did you get involved with this? I mean, because you called me up. You was like, oh, we got to let the world know. People aren't really bald, Geraldine. They're not really bald.
Right,
They're
right,
bald, but it's
right.
not because of the way we think. It's not cancer.
I know.
It's and did you know that there were men? There are men. I'm going. All right, calm down, Cynthia. Calm down. And it is Alopecia Awareness Month. But you're right. You're always smart and you're right on about getting the awareness out there. And for that, I thank you. So tell me about this event.
I did a big event at the same museum. I did a jazz set. I was the MC. And I saw this lady sitting out in the audience when the lights would come up, and she was bald headed. And I'm thinking, ooh, she got a lot of nerve, thinking to myself, right? So when it was over, she came up to me and asked me would I make a headpiece for her, my accessories,
yeah.
because she was doing this big event at the same museum with about 14 different models. So I said, oh, I would be honored. What do you want me to do? Because I'm not bald headed. She said, I love your accessories. Bring all your. Did I work them with them accessories?
Yes, she did.
Girl, I
She's
bought. I can
phenomenal.
do accessories for life.
Yeah,
So when I got there, and I saw all these bald-headed women, I went crazy because Geraldine, now to be a diva and to be really built with self-esteem, they walked around like they had a head full of head, girl. I was going up to everybody. Hi, I'm Cynthia Black. I'm looking all at their hair, their makeup, beat for the gods, girl. So I was so impressed. I said, look, what can I do? Because, I did my cancer show at Vince Carter's when it was there. And I always take the survivors.
Yes.
I don't want anybody that's going to come and has never experienced it. And I did only three changes. I did their survivor, their diagnosis, and now their blessings from God. And they would come out in the colors with diagnosis would be all black. And then I had the mayor, Derek, the mayor of Daytona Beach, said, Cynthia, I want a model. I want to be in it.
Wow. So let's talk, Tam, about the treatment.
Absolutely.
What kind of treatment?
So
we know the disease, you gave us some ideas, not ideas, but things about causes it. But what kind of treatments are there? I mean, is there any
slew.
research or
There
anything
is,
like
and if
that?
anyone is interested, if you think that you have alopecia, a loved one, and so forth, you could go to the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, NAAF.org, and there's a slew of different researches going
Okay.
on. And so, like I know, and I was mentioning earlier, this is something that I've been walking with for a little over a decade. And originally, I went to a dermatologist, whereas most of us alopecians do. And we get that diagnosis, and there was a biopsy done, and then
Wow.
just because they want to rule it out, because there's where there's centralized alopecia, there's also spreading alopecia. You know what I mean? And they're able to determine, okay, will this go on, and what course of action do we need to take? And so there's topical creams, there's ointments, you could get injections, and things to that effect. There's constant
But do
research
they
taking
work
place.
though? I mean,
We've seen
because I can
some results
imagine some
from
people going, I really don't want to lose my hair, and I appreciate that you have the boldness, but I want every cream, every ointment, and every injection you can get, and it still may not work. And that's where the support groups and things come in.
absolutely, it's kind of a hit or miss, and it's all individualized because once more these are individual immune systems, you know what I mean, where our
Exactly.
immune system is attacking our hair follicles, but our bodies, our genetics is made up differently. And I've had some friends that have responded well to some treatments and wanting to have that full head of hair, and some have not been able to obtain it. and just gone back to shaving their heads. And that's a whole nother topic. I mean, I use buzz clippers. I have some friends that use Magic Shave. Some use
How
a Mach
often?
3 to
Ooh.
shave, with the razors.
Yeah, how often do you shave your head?
For me, I can go 2 days max before it's just, really, you can start to
Noticeable
see
the
exactly,
patches of baldness in your.
absolutely. And, for me, I kind of have that old school male balding pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the crown of my head, it's completely like smooth like a baby. And then, if it starts to grow out, you'll see the different areas in which,
That's a lot of work.
listen.
Look, I
It
mean,
sure
because
is.
when
I'm
you
not
talk
going to
about,
the hair salon.
look, I mean, that's like, black people trying to go natural on their hair with the twist and braid. That's too much work.
Oh yeah.
I
Woo.
got time for that.
It is what it is, when
That's a
you're wanting
lot.
to just, when you want to walk in it, you know what I mean? It's either, I mean, I remember, the money that I spent on wigs and
Oh
weaves and
yeah.
everything, and
Right.
I needed the ponytail, I needed the bangs, I need the curls, I need the bob, you know what I
And I
mean?
can't imagine the stress.
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
wow.
you dread going into the water, you don't want to be hugging someone and your wig slips off kind of thing. So it's
Oh,
like
Oh.
all of those different mental anguishes
Just
that a person that wears these type of
which
hairstyles they
is
go
important
through.
why you have these support groups. You have a support
Absolutely.
group and you get people
Absolutely.
together. Let's talk about that.
It's, alopecia in itself for women is something traumatic because, for the most part, it is, that stigma where women, you're supposed to have hair,
Mm,
and so for those that are walking this journey, no matter what stage they're in, you need somewhere to dump it,
mm.
and what you went through in the week and so forth, and so we have the Central Florida Alopecia Support Group. It's sponsored by the Eatonville Chamber of Commerce. In fact, their vice president is a fellow alopecian, and this is something that we started back in 2019 and so forth, and they're all walks of life come in.
Mm.
We meet monthly. We go to trips. You know what I mean? We do different things. Just this past summer, there's a group called the Ball Bosses, and we
Oh, I like
flew.
that.
It was
Bald bosses.
a slew
Ooh.
of individuals. We flew from all over the country to Indianapolis, and we walked in their Juneteenth parade. And that was
Wow.
phenomenal because you have folks that are acknowledging us and recognizing, and I, not to jump around, but I mean, I'm in my 40s,
Hmm.
and I remember when being bald was not easily accepted. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
To this day,
It's
It
still
was
a
a
lot of people.
stigma.
It's still
A
a
stigma.
stigma
exactly,
in
to
some
this
ways.
day, you get the looks, and people are wondering, but it's more widely accepted now. But yesteryear it wasn't, and
Mm.
so to be in the modeling bizarre fashion show this past week and be out there in Indianapolis walking in parade, and folks are cheering and clapping and celebrating and supporting and uplifting you, it's a phenomenon. And it's
Mm.
something that we are continuously working to push the needle and make certain that we're able to tell our narrative with regards to the plight and the walks and the levels of surviving in this journey that we go through.
Well, I appreciate your boldness and your honesty and your transparency. And if we have anyone that's listening or those that are watching us by way of social media and you have a child that's affected with it, or if you're affected with it, please make sure you reach out because it is important to get that support and to have someone that you can talk to that understands where you understand your plight and have been there,
Hmm.
especially if it's new. Because we as a people, we look at, the things that are external and
Exactly.
put
And
so
judge.
yeah
And judge.
we do so
I'm
need to
guilty. I'm
listen. We all
ashamed.
we all are guilty, ashamed of it. We all are guilty of doing that, and but we know when you know better, you do
Do
better.
better.
Yeah, so let's take another break. We gotta go. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You listen to the Data Pastor Jay. When we come back in,
Okay.
so I can
Okay.
get that on the air, and about how many people are affected by alopecia that I don't
Yeah.
even know. So I didn't want to ask you that while we were airing because
Yeah.
sometimes numbers escape me. So if we can, those are really just a couple of things. If there's anything closer, and just contact information when we come back.
Okay.
Do you want me to give your phone number or
Um,
your email, or do you have another
let me
contact?
Tam's favor.
There's a pen right over there. You can grab it. Yep. And just write it down
Oh,
so
you're
you'll have it.
left-handed too.
Oh, see, she's
Oh,
smart.
I love
She's
all the
smart.
left-handed people.
She's smart.
What a gift. My brother was all left-handed.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you give it, but I want to make because sometimes we'll forget, and then
okay.
yeah, about
Let me get
uh
some statistics on numbers.
huh.
See, I thought people just lose their hair when they get old.
Yeah, I thought so
I
too.
mean, I
Yeah.
never
You
knew it
know,
was a disease.
my mother and my grandma,
More
theirs
than
started.
two hundred
Everybody's.
thousand U.S. cases per
What?
year.
Yeah,
Okay, I got some.
200,000. That's a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in my family, it started later. Mine started in my late 20s.
Were you in denial?
Oh yeah, I was big time.
Nearly
Okay.
You
two
know.
percent of the population suffers from it in a lifetime. Okay, I'm sure you've got some. You ready? We'll
Let's
go
rock and
back in.
roll.
How many got? 2, 3 minutes? 3 to 4.
Okay.
Okay. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Steve Verrier, thefloridamortgagecenter.com for sponsoring today with Pastor Jay. Thank you so very much. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a house, if anybody, needs some money, you got to call Steve. He's the guy. So we're just looking at some of the statistics and things. There are more than 200,000 U.S. cases per year, people being diagnosed with alopecia, and teenagers are rare. That they're rare getting it, but that don't mean. But 19 to 40 years old is very common. Can you imagine? Well, you have imagined because you've had it for
I
10
thought it
years.
was just for old people.
You thought it was just, yeah. Now, adults, it's very common. 41 to 60 years old. Seniors, very common in seniors, 60 plus.
Absolutely.
So from 19 years and up, it's very common. It's
Yeah.
one of those common type things. And it's just nearly 2% of the general population at some point during their lifetime.
We'll experience it.
Yep.
Yep. And for some, it actually their hair does grow back. We have one of
Oh.
the founders of the bazaar, Donna Gray Banks, she experienced a moment of complete hair loss and now she has a full head of hair.
Wow.
Right?
Wow,
Isn't
Donna.
that something? And they alopecia it affects males and females in equal numbers. So it's not like it's
It doesn't
just one.
discriminate.
It doesn't discriminate.
No.
And it can appear at any age, but most typically begins during childhood. There are approximately 2.5 million individuals in the United States affected by alopecia. That's a lot. Those are big numbers.
Yeah, it is. And that's just the United States. I mean, in my walk, I've met individuals internationally, and,
Right.
and we use, Google Translator to communicate, and so forth.
And
But
yeah.
it's worldwide.
There's treatments, but there's no cure.
But I didn't know that the immune system, which is very
Yeah.
vital right now with all the viruses. And when you said that, that just hit a nerve for me because I'm all about boosting that immune system. So we got to start
yeah.
young.
And,
yeah.
and there's no cure.
There's no cure.
Mm-mm. No, there's
And
treatments that some are
Wow.
successful depending upon the individual, but there's no cure. There's three different
absolutely.
types.
And when this pandemic broke out, because it is an immune,
Right.
we were nervous.
Accelerated.
You know what I
It
mean? It's like, oh,
accelerated.
oh my gosh. And then you have to go and get, your vaccinations. And of course, we know, as individuals to enter into school, of course, we know that we needed those vaccinations, but just to be living through an actual
wow.
pandemic and being exposed and you just don't know and you know that you have a
Oh.
weakened immune system.
Already.
It was just like, oh gosh.
So is there anything closer, support groups and stuff like that closer here in Flagler County or?
We are working constantly to build this thing out, right?
Okay.
And so as we see a need in Central Florida and we make connections throughout the state of Florida, we are working to actually have satellite locations. As
Or
for
even
right now,
virtual things, maybe
we,
do
as for
Zoom.
now, the Central Florida Alopecia Support Group, we do. We have in-person groups and we have virtual groups. We have folks that come from Ocala, Melbourne, and so forth and so on, just because it's become that much of a family.
Right.
We go to each other's events and things to that effect, just to make certain that we're supporting each other, not just in a meeting, in a formal setting, but in an informal setting,
Well,
because we truly become that
so,
much of
well,
loved
I want to
ones.
thank you so much for bringing this awareness because September is Alopecia
It
Awareness Month.
is.
So I had to get you in here before the month was over. Let's get some contact information, how people can contact you.
Absolutely. And so you can reach out to info@tamsfavor.com. That is info, at TAMS, favors. Gosh, it's a brand new one, and I do apologize.
Hold on, pause
TAMS.
one more moment. We can just cut that out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Just go ahead and get the information. He'll fix it.
Okay. Info@tamsfavor.com. So that's info@TAMS favor, FAVOR.com. And we'll go ahead and make certain that we get you linked in, looped in with the next upcoming meeting.
Well, I'm excited. Cynthia, I think you and I need to get something together. Maybe we can put on a fashion show here in Flagler
Oh,
County,
that's why I
raise
was
awareness and raise some money. Let's
right.
get it done. I mean,
Okay.
because that's how Flagler is. Let's get it going. Thank you so much for coming, and I
Absolutely.
appreciate you
Thank you,
driving
ladies.
this way. You drove an hour and a half to get here this morning to do the show. Thank you so very much, and thank you, Cynthia, for bringing this to our attention. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to find out a little bit more about alopecia than you knew before. And then you're going to contact Tam at info@tamsfavor.com. Bless you. God bless you. Have a great day.